What you have to do like that?
If I could train a dragon, I could just tame a lion. Any
What you have to do like that?
if I could train a dragon, I could just tame a lion. Any climate. I'm shining like a diamond out of Zion. Been a tyrant, never solid. My retirement's desire, but my dwelling place is fire. Fitting for my attire. If I could aim any higher, I hit the Allah higher. My asylum is in the bottom of bridges in the bottle. Wobble, shaking, taking the city with a truck. Cause it's one big titty bitch ready to get fucked. From the front to the back, we never stumble, never lag. While they recover from the seven, we on the streets freaking havoc, creating terror from the club. It's the Stano scripting the club with those models dripping with blood from the scripture. Stitching one W, nigga, I'm here to trouble you. Problems, then I'm a troubleshoot. Rich niggas won't fuck with you, my people so uncomfortable, rushing you to the upper room. Truly, we the untouchable. Fully automatic both status. 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 I'm here to conquer word is fun, telling my sponsor get it on. She got the beauty and the prom, booty eating the thong. Wisdom I never found when you bishop breaking your dog. The foot is breaking it off, so I'm ruthless about the law. Killing these Christians with the cross of religion, you living false. It's hostility in your thoughts, so I'm coming through with the salt. Kentucky 8 over my chipper with indigenous. We'll call it coup de grace. Taking the scepter off the mantle like Moses before the battle. The chariots in the rattle, we riding out while it's shallow. You copycat get the gallows, we coming out of the shadow with death. Resurrect the elect, one fully automatic both status. 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 I face the east when I pray, but it's one west. All this camouflage on me, I'ma work that. UPK gonna rule, I ain't far-fetched. You niggas want world peace like Ryan Norton. Hey, took it and ran with it. The old me had to die for me to transition. All the churches closed down, it's a pandemic. But UPK in every hood like transmission. You can thank the general, I am the bar. Niggas running out of time like I had a more. Red cup like label, I'm a connoisseur. I'ma leave it wet if I draw the Fully automatic both status. 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 I face the east when I pray, but it's one west. All this camouflage on me, I'ma work that. UPK gonna rule, I ain't far-fetched. You niggas want world peace like Ryan Norton. Hey, took it and ran with it. The old me had to die for me to transition. All the churches closed down, it's a pandemic. But UPK in every hood like transmission. You can thank the general, I am the bar. Niggas running out of time like I had a more. I'ma leave it wet if I draw the sword. Nigga, this the code of conduct. Put on all black and some rank, I know he's solid. She ain't gotta get naked, she know she poppin'. We was yelling back up way before the virus. Hey, most high in Christ, this type of life ain't for the weak, you gotta sacrifice, give it up. We sin unaware, niggas go against the grain like they couldn't hear. But I'ma preach the prophet, I gotta teach. You might not get to see me 7 days out the week. You got questions, we got breakdowns. UPK about to spread like a breakout. Refuge, this is safe house. Not too many take this road, but it's a safe route. Babylon gon' fall, just let it play out. Fully automatic both status. Fully automatic both status. Fully automatic both status. Fully automatic both status.
Shot. You know how niggas be like, I'm missing that for life, bro. Missing that for life. No moments for life, nigga. This is blood. And no matter what, they go class for you, my nigga. 140 for the road. The world turned its back open. I'm a criminal. We got soldiers. He got soldiers, but I got different ones. On the way out, I tell you what. Don't press for nothing. There's nothing to curse. We can't forget. with a blind foot. They said there'll be many matches. I'm just grinding for my time share. The fellas in Cranberry, they hunt you like bad pepper. But ain't no getting off the game, let you munch it. You take that office of Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You gon' make it out in one. You ain't gon' mess so you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and it's death to his heart. So how you feel about this truth by the show? Acting like you ain't that nigga. I should walk out. Even your own people gon' get show. If I know I said they hate you for my name, then you better keep it on. Ain't no more kissing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like Jonas did. Murder for capital nine. Murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement. We like fuck a race. It's a race. I pity those for your life as it.
Shalom, shalom. I'm Officer 50 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA. We started out 125th Street, 1 West, Harlem, New York. Salakia, 1 West, Harlem, New York, 125th Street. Established 1969. With me, I got Officer 50, Shariwan. You know, shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba'ashem Yahshai to all the sisters. What's going on, Ak?
Shalom, Ak. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah. You too, Ak?
Kana.
Okay. Monday night, you know what we do Monday night, man? We right back at it, man. We got some history and a topic that needs to be spoken about, right? Where are the Salakia? The title is Missing or Murdered Native American Sisters, right?
Kana.
Native American women need protection right now. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about our sisters who are going missing, right? They are going missing at an alarming rate, right? And a lot of times they are being murdered, brutally murdered. And the oppressors who are the police force, they are fumbling the ball, right? They're basically juking and messing up the investigation, or either writing the investigation off as is nothing, when there's clear markings on bodies of like physical struggles, and they sometimes just mark it off as like a suicide, right? Well, our sisters are going missing and they're being murdered, and a lot of times when they're missing, they're being trafficked into being sex slaves, right? This is what's happening, and this is what's plaguing our communities right now. Native Americans, they are Israelites. They are God's chosen people, right? You probably never heard that before, but if you are Native American, you are God's chosen child, right? You are a special people. You're not like the rest of the nations, right? You got to think about why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, why we have the same oppressors, why we go through the same things, right? In the city, girls go missing all the time from ghetto communities, right? And sometimes they're never seen again. Sometimes it could be they're trying to get away from a situation they think is bad, that might be bad or might not really be bad, but it's just the same. Black girls go missing just like Native American women go missing, just like Hispanic women go missing. But in fact, in Canada, Native American women go missing at a higher rate, at a much more alarming rate, right? So we're gonna get into it. Our sisters need protection, right? Anybody watching, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Share it on all social media. Don't forget that tonight, General YAHANNA will be going live on YouTube, from General YAHANNA on YouTube, live Monday night PM Black Watch, right? Don't forget about Black Watch tonight. It's every Monday night, 9 p.m. It's gonna be live. It's the real news station for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right, so we're gonna get into it. Let's see what we got here. Lock, yeah. I gotta mute my phone right quick. Okay. So what? You can add this in. Um,
No sweat.
Slovakia. 1 second. Let me email this to me. Or do you have it in front of you?
Khan, I can pull that up.
Yeah, this is a short read. We can read through this right quick before I get into the other things I have. This is a short read. Whenever you're ready, you can read it off.
Khan. So this is an article on missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. It's an article from CBC, and it reads, CBC News has looked into 34 cases across Canada which involve the death or disappearance of Indigenous women, but which authorities say were not due to foul play. In every case, families of the women say they do not accept the findings of police. They suggest murder may be involved. CBC News found evidence in many of the cases that points to suspicious circumstances, unexplained bruises, and other factors that suggest further investigation is warranted. Many advocates for missing and murdered Indigenous women say these are exactly the kinds of cases requiring further scrutiny and a national inquiry.
All right, I'll hold. So what we're just reading about is like our sisters are going missing, right? And Salakia, there was a part where I'm trying to get to it, right where you said it, right? So it says what which authorities say were not due to foul play, right? And then it says in every case, families of the women say they don't accept the findings, right? Then we jump down some more. CBC News found evidence. What the hell is going on? How
Right.
is the news reporter finding evidence and the news reporter is not a homicide detective,
Right.
right? So that clearly tells you what I was saying earlier is true. These police officers who are majority of the time they're the people that put us in slavery. They're the people that forced my brothers and sisters onto the reservations, right? They don't give a damn. They just want to write it off. They rather not look for the killer because 9 times out of 10, at 15 times out of 15 actually, the killer is one of their family members,
Gun.
right? Like these oppressors, they stole land, they stole people, they rape people, they murder people. Esau's a killer from the beginning, right? Just like his forefather Cain. Like Esau is a killer. Like they have such a bloodthirst. Like they're the only people that when we say Esau, the white man is Esau out of the Bible, right?
Right.
I know that on the reservations that the Bible is not allowed to be read. But if you crack open a Bible, you'll find out that your oppressor is Esau in the Bible. He's the one that kills you. He's the only man that goes around the earth and leaves from British Columbia to go somewhere in Africa on a safari to go kill a lion. Right? The Highway of Tears is many of our sisters are gone missing and murdered on the Highway of Tears. Right? We're gonna get into that a little later. You can keep reading, Baba Kasha. Or you if you got anything you want to add, you could jump in at any time.
It's just one more part on this article. It just reads at the end. This project is part of CBC's ongoing investigation into missing and murdered indigenous women. We continue to expand our database of all unsolved cases. To search more than 250 of those cases, use the Case Explorer below. And
Good
so they have a
night.
database, Khan, and it's currently displaying over 307 profiles.
Good night. Like, and
And
that's just the tip of the iceberg. Our sisters have been going missing since 1970 and before that, right? But we'll just bring it to a date that is close but is far, right? If you're my age right now, you can't think of 1970. Damn, we were only born in the 80s, right? And we feel like old men now, even though we're young, right? So 1970, Native sisters have been going missing. And you can damn sure bet they've been going missing since a long, long, long before that.
Khan.
Lama, you're on mute. Salaki Ak. Ya Bashim Ya Shabrak Tha.
Yo, Shabbat
The water for tuning in, Ak. Right? We're just going into missing and murdered Aboriginal sisters. Right? Let me see if I could. I'm gonna drop the. Yeah, so you can just type up unresolved case closed or murder for CIBC. It's they're I think they're doing like CIBC is a news channel that they more do documentary style news, right? They'll still hit you with the news at 5 and 6, but every once in a while they do like a documentary where they'll do like weeks long stories and cover things that they want you to believe that they care about. They don't care about it. It's just they're looking for ratings. If they could talk about puppies and cats and make the same money, they would talk about puppies and cats.
Right.
So that was it for the article, Ak?
Khan, that was it.
Let's see if we can. Salakia. Dang, I need to get something open right quick.
And yeah,
Yeah, you can jump in. Jump in whenever you got something.
Khan, and if you do take a look at that article, if you drop down to the cases, you can see the stories for each individual woman.
Oh, you can see the stories.
Khan, yeah, there'll be a story behind each of the missing women.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Let's see. Case Explorer. Damn, they got under 18 and over 18. Our oppressors they are devils. They are the devil the Bible speaks of. Right? Let's see. Like, condolences to the families of all our sisters that were missing or that are missing still or presumed murdered, who was missing and found or murdered and found. Right? Justice. I know it seems like justice is a far way off and you won't get justice, but you will get justice. Like they're gonna have to pay for all their crimes, right? They think that they could just hide their crimes, but the Most High is gonna un he's going to send Christ and the angels to make them pay for everything they've done, every ounce of blood they've dropped of the Native Americans, so-called blacks and Hispanics, right? This is not Christianity. This is reading the Bible for what it is, right? For the people who it's meant for, right? Salvation is for the blacks, Hispanics, and the Native Americans, right? Our oppressors who put us in slavery, the ones who kidnap our daughters and sell them, they're gonna have to pay for that, right? That's as far as it goes. They're gonna have to pay for it, and the Most High is gonna see to it that they pay for it, right? Once again, General Yahanna live at 9, YouTube 9 p.m. tonight. Black Watch. Like, subscribe, and share this video. Thumb up the video, right? So we're gonna go into. All right, so we're gonna go into this. 1 second. Let me share this. Salakia, bear with me one moment. I'm going to go into the share screen. There we go. For anybody watching, if you're having a hard time seeing the share screen, just type it in the chat. I'll try to fix it. Hold up. Where is that share screen? Okay. Right, so on the share screen, we got missing and murdered indigenous women. Right, this is from Wikipedia. Just gonna run down quickly what missing and murdered indigenous women is about. The missing and murdered indigenous women human rights crisis. This report affects indigenous peoples in Canada and the United States, notably those in the First Nation, Métis, Inuit, and Native American communities. Right? A corresponding map of the U.S. and Canada works to raise awareness of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Because our oppressors are such devils, they don't care about how old you are or how young you are, your sex, nor your they just don't care. They just want to hurt you. Through organized marches, the building of databases, local community and tribal meetings, and domestic violence training for police, right? Missing and murdered Indigenous women has been described as a Canadian national crisis, a national genocide, right? Genocide. They're trying to kill our sisters, right? Our oppressors have already beat down the spirit of the majority of Native American men, just like they beat down the spirit of Slovakia. Okay, Thuata, let me try to fix it. 1 second. Hold up. Oh no, that's way too big. Nothing now. If anybody can see it, 1 second. Let me just check it out on the YouTube myself, see what it's looking like. Mm. All right, it's looking good now. All right, so where were we? Like they're trying to kill our sisters. They've already beaten down the men and destroyed the spirit of the men in the Native American Gadite community. Native Americans, you are the children of Israel. You are Gadites, Salakia, as well as the Seminole Indians. Salakia, Officer Sharyuan, you got a 12 tribe chart list with you?
Ghana.
What tribe does it say for Seminole Indians?
Seminole Indians is Reuben, sir.
Reuben, right? So the Seminole Indians, you are the tribe of Reuben, one of the 12, right? The North American Indians, you are the tribe of Gad, right? The Gadites. And just like North American Indians, Hispanics, and blacks, the males have been destroyed in the grinder called that is white supremacy. right? So now they're trying to destroy. Now they're trying to murder our sisters. They are murdering our sisters, and they're doing it in numbers, right? In response to repeated calls from indigenous groups, activists, and non-governmental aid organizations, the government of Canada, under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, established a national public inquiry, right? The national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in September 2016, according to the inquiry's backgrounder, between the years 1980 and 2012, Indigenous women and girls represent 16% of all homicides in Canada. Wow, that is a large
Yeah.
number. What am I looking for? There's something else I'm looking for right here.
Salaki,
Con,
you said 60% of all homicide from
16% of
1980 have been indigenous.
con. So
Salakia, 16?
16% of all the homicides in Canada from 1980 to 2012.
Damn. Con.
Damn, right? That's crazy. Like, what is going on? Like, why are our sisters being murdered at such an alarming rate? Right? Well, we're about to get into it. We are about to get into it, and the like, there is a simple way to solve these crimes.
Right.
Right? Now, it might not. I know when you hear that, you're thinking, what is the simple way to solve these crimes of our sisters going missing and murdered, right? Well, before the end of this video, you're gonna find out exactly how we solve our sisters being missing and murdered, missing or murdered. They need protection right now,
Right.
Right.
right? 1 second, I was just looking for something. Where is it? Right. So in Canada, you gotta check this part out. In Canada, according to activists, thousands of cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women over the last half century were not properly investigated due to alleged police bias. Right? Their cousins are the ones murdering our women.
Right.
It's that simple, right? The police chief, he gets the call. Okay, there's another Native American woman missing, or she's found dead, and they found the body. They do the investigation. They realize that it's the police chief's own son, right? Salakia, there hasn't been any any confirmed cases of like a police chief's own son killing Native women, but this is what's happening, right? The police are fumbling cases because they know the killer is it's their own people that's killing these people. Half the times it's the police that's killing our people, right? The
Right.
49 woman murdered by serial killer Robert Pickton, who eventually jailed in 2000. Did you hear that? The 49 women, right? Now, not all of these women were Native women, but we're going to find out who was, right? Who was eventually jailed in 2007, are cited as an example, with families claiming that Pickton was able to go on killing for so long because police had not taken the disappearances seriously, because most of the women were sex workers and indigenous, right?
Right.
Salakia. Akim, how does an indigenous daughter become, how does a Gadite sister become a sex worker? Who wants to take a wild guess?
Slack, yeah. But good. Did you say how did she become?
Yeah, how do our indigenous sisters become sex workers?
Salakia.
Khan.
Um, a lot of these women, they're stolen and sold into sex trafficking.
Right? Right there. Our sisters are being stolen. They're being kidnapped. The oppressor has been doing the same thing he's done since he's come off that ship. He steals. Right? He comes to steal and kill. That's what the oppressor does. Like they don't play no games when it comes to that. That they put the murder game down. Right? They like the oppressors don't play with that murder game. They're good at murder. That's what they specialize in.
Right.
Right? So the police never took the missing women. I think this was British Columbia where it happened. The missing women from Robert Hickton that he was accused of, that he was convicted of killing. They never took those seriously, right? They would get a call that an indigenous sister is missing. That's Johnny, just chuck that one under the coffee table, right? They have files upon files of reports of missing sisters that they just disregarded. Right? What do we got here? A 2011 Statistics Canada report estimated that between 1997 and 2000, the rate of homicides for Aboriginal women and girls was almost 7 times higher than that of other females. Right? Compared to non-Indigenous women and girls, they were also disproportionately affected by all forms of violence. What else do we got? Okay, this is what I wanted right here. A 2014 report by the RCMP entitled Missing and Murdered Aboriginal Women, a National Operational Overview, that found that more than 1,000 Indigenous women were murdered over a span of 30 years. Right? Can you imagine? Like in 30 years, a 1,000 plus sisters being murdered. Right? Do you know the devastation that does to a community?
Right.
Like that's how you devastate a community. Right? The oppressor has been waging war on us since they got out the boat. Right? With our Gadite brothers, they take everything from them and then they leave it so that alcohol and other drugs are a way out. Right? They do the same things with us in the ghetto. First they make us poor. Then they flood us with drugs and alcohol. Right? And then they come and lock us up and we're the criminals.
Right.
Right? Like you got to think about it. They have a House of Commons in Slovakia, in Ottawa, a House of Commons, right? There's no indigenous person, no native, no Gadite person, right? Because the Native Americans are the Gadites of the Bible. You are God's chosen people. That's why you're going through these curses, right? There's no Gadite in the House of Commons, right? Justin Trudeau was like his government. They were on it about a pipeline that they wanted to run through reservations, right? But there's no water line to the reservations, right? The reservations haven't had clean water in years,
Right.
right? And we gotta bring these stories out. We gotta basically, if we don't talk about these stories, then they're just gonna get swept under the rug. Let's see if there's any more. While homicides for non-Indigenous women decline the homicides for women who aren't Native American, they're in decline. They're declining between 1980 and 2015, right? The numbers of Indigenous women who were victims of homicides increased from 9% of all female homicide victims in 1980 to 24%
Damn.
in 2015. Damn. That that's crazy. Like that, you know, when Christ comes back, he's gonna make sure that every oppressor has to go through a hard, super hardship, man. Like they're gonna be enslaved. Native Americans, they're gonna build our kingdom for us, right? A while back, we had a conversation with brothers and sisters in Caledonia, right? That's the Caledonia Reservation out there, right? Where they were doing the 1492 land back lane. We went out there to talk to some of our brothers and sisters, and we tried to ask them what punishment are our oppressors gonna face for all the crimes they've done to us, all the blood shed. And they didn't have the answer. They told us that they don't want to think about the punishment for the oppressors. They just want to live in love, right? You don't get free living in love. That's how beat down our people's spirit is, where they don't want to fight, nor do they know how to fight, right? This fight is not a carnal fight. We can't fight the oppressors. We can't fight the oppressors with their guns and their weapons. Like this is a spiritual fight. You have to take yourself out of the the oppressor's kingdom, out of his way of life. And unfortunately, many of our native sisters are caught up in the oppressor's way of life, even on the reserves. And that's what leads our sisters to be going missing, right? These are curses that we have to go through, right? Salakia, Officer Sharwan, can you get me Deuteronomy 28 and 15?
Con.
Like these are curses that we gotta go through. Shalom, Janice Bell, the water for tuning in. Whenever you got it, you can drop it, right? 1,000 sisters being murdered over 30 years is a curse.
Right.
You got to think about like what could like Salakia, you know, what did the Gadites do to the Great Spirit to be murdered at this rate? Native American brothers and sisters, that is a question for you. What did you do to the so-called Great Spirit? Because you guys believe in the Great Spirit. What did you do to the Great Spirit to make the Great Spirit have you murdered at such a rate? Right? Does the Great Spirit have power? Right? Will the Great Spirit defend you? Right? These are questions, Salakia. You can read that whenever you got it.
Con. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right? So you're seeing it right there. Like the Lord's basically telling you, if you don't keep his commandments, you're gonna go through curses. Right? Again, Native American Indians, you are not Christians. You're not even Indians, right? You're not even American or Canadian. You are something much more better than that. You are of the Lord, right? You're the Lord's people, right? Gadites are supposed to be strong, a warrior spirit. You influence majority of the world of war tactics, right? The white man knows how to creep through jungles and navigate land because of your war tactics. There was a time when the stomping of your feet through the trees would have the oppressors so shook, right? Where is that people? Right? Salakia, Officer Sharyuan. Read that one more time, Baba Kasha.
Khan, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right? So there's curses that our sisters are going through. Right? Our Gadite sisters, they're going through curses at this moment. Right? 1,000 missing sisters, that is a curse. Right? Salakia. I gotta pull this up one more time. Right? A missing and murdered indigenous page on Wikipedia, that is a curse. Right? Missing and murdered indigenous women, Native American women, being a human rights crisis in Canada is a curse. Like there's no way around that. Now that's not saying that you're cursed, you're a cursed people, because you are not a cursed people. You're a holy people. You're a people that the Most High loves. Right? Salakia, 1 second. You are a people that the Most High loves. He loves you so much. Right? It's just a punishment that we're going through. That's what it is. And you're asking yourself, punished for what? Right? That's what it really is. It's just a punishment we're going through at the moment. Look here, 1 second. Mm. All right. So I got another article that we're going to get into. If you're watching, like, share, and subscribe. If you got any questions or any comments, type them in. Like, type in your comments and questions if you got any. Right, we're going to get into some of these curses in a second. Right, so I have another article for you. This is from The Guardian. Officer Rod, can you get me hold First Maccabees 7:31? Officer Sharyuan, can you jump down to that same chapter? We're going to be in Deuteronomy 28 for a little bit. Jump down to that same chapter to 30, verse 30.
Khan. Salakia, did you want me to read?
All right, just hold that, Officer Rod. I'm going to get to that in a second. Just have it on deck. Have that loaded in the chamber so we could beat that when we're ready. You know, we ain't no Christian. This is a kind of war. We ain't coming with that love your oppressors. We're not here with that. Let your oppressors on the reserve and let them march and protest with you. That's not where we're on. Because as soon as you let an oppressor protest and march with you, you're gonna drop your guard and act like everything's good. And you're gonna get a fat knife in the back. That's all you're gonna get from thinking that the oppressors love you. Right? If you can't see the share screen, just type it in the chat. Like, subscribe, and share to this video. Don't forget that at 9 o'clock, General Yohanna will be going live. Right, so we have from the Guardian, indigenous women are preyed on at horrifying rates. Right, horrifying. Salakia, Officer Shariwan, can you get the definition for horrifying?
Oh,
Right.
God.
So this is the story of a sister, right? She was once preyed on, right? And this is her story. She's now a reporter. This came out in September 2020. She's now a reporter, and she won't let the people forget her trauma, right? And we're not gonna let our oppressors forget our trauma. That's why we're here, to remind everybody of the trauma, right? Salakia, Officer Shariwan, do you have that definition?
God. Definition of horrifying is causing feelings of horror and awful, terrifying, dismaying, or greatly shocking, dreadful.
Right? So let's read it with that definition. Indigenous women are preyed on at a Salakia, a dreadful rate, right? That was one of them. They said terribly shocking rates, right? I was one of them. That's what this is. We're gonna read this story now. It's gonna be from the sister's point of view, right? 27 years ago, I almost ended up a grim statistic like so many indigenous women and girls. It's still happening, right? So you see it that it's a continued theme, right? Women and girls. It's not just they're grabbing up the women. You're not seeing a beautiful native sister and saying, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I can't control myself." They're just doing it because they want to do it. They don't care if it's a young girl, if she's 12, if she's 10, they're grabbing them, right? This is what our oppressors have done since residential schools, right? If you're watching this now, flip back a few weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and go and watch the tape we did on residential schools. They were kidnapping our children then and raping and molesting our children then and murdering our children then, to the point where they were digging up the graves. They were finding so much graves that it was so shameful they had to stop. They said, let's stop digging for these graves. If we keep digging for these graves, we're going to find a exuberant number of graves, mass graves of children that were murdered, right? Children forced to drink cod liver oil until they threw up, right? So let's get into this article. Uh, right? So you could see this fence. This fence is it's like a
Salakia.
Kana. Khan, whenever you're ready, Ak. Ah man, Salakia, Ak, I can't hear you. Dang. You might
Salakia.
wanna. Yeah, I got you. I can hear you coming through the
Just
line.
to add, that website I showed, it had there was a 9-month-old baby taken.
Damn, our oppressors are gonna pay. I pray for the day we get to snatch their babies and sell their babies. And I know that sounds harsh to a Christian, but we aren't Christians, right? King David said the same thing. He's pretty happy he'll be when he gets to dash their babies against the stones like they did our babies during the Trail of Tears, right? Like a 9 month old baby. That's crazy. Salakia, Ak, I didn't mean to cut you. Right.
This
So Look at this red fence. Red dresses hang on a fence near a Trans Mountain Pipeline site in Blue River, British Columbia. Red dresses symbolize murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, right? Like think about it, man. Like our people are hurting right now. They don't know what to do. They're hanging dresses on fences, begging for this to stop, pleading for this to stop. The oppressor doesn't give a damn about no dress on a fence. This hurts my heart to see this, right? But it's gonna fuel me to go bring this out at camp. It's gonna fuel me to charge our oppressors with these
Right.
crimes. To tell my brothers and sisters that we need to gather together right now. That we need to protect each other right now. Right? So let's get into this article. I was a missing Indigenous girl who beat the odds. Now I'm a journalist and won't shut up about the genocidal crisis happening in Canada. I spent my childhood in and out of foster homes. It was a cold and lonely system, right? So unfortunately for a lot of our people, right, our people get beaten down so bad sometimes that they're not in a state of the right mind where they could take care of themselves, let alone take care of children, right? Our oppressors are to blame for the state of our people, why our people are so destroyed and crushed in the grinder, right? And our oppressors are to blame for why our children are going into the so-called system that's supposed to foster care for us. It was a cold and lonely system. At 12, at the age 12, I ran away from a group home with two other girls. It was freedom, or so I thought, right? So this is something this is something that plagues our sisters, Native sisters, Black Hispanic sisters. Sometimes you just want to do what you want to do so much that you think you're doing the right thing, and you think that the you you take the liberties that the oppressors offers and thinks that you think is freedom when it's definitely not freedom, right? We're living in hell right now, right? Our daughters are getting kidnapped, like they're being murdered. We're living in hell, right? Or so she thought. I don't even remember how many days I was missing for, right? Officer Shaywan, do you have that precept ready? Oh, Salakia, Officer Shaywan is not in. Oh, is not looking at that. All right, Officer Shaywan will be right back with us. Uh, Officer Officer Urad, can you get Deuteronomy 28:32 for me, Baba Kasha?
Come on,
Right. So this girl, she ran away from a group home at 12, and she thought it was freedom, right? And then she went missing, and it didn't feel like freedom no more, right? And I'm happy that she was. We're gonna keep reading. She was able to escape, right? Because she's the one writing this story, so she was able to escape, and I'm happy that she was able to escape, right? Now we need all of our people to escape the culture of our oppressor, right? Put away all the idols that we worship. Put down the sage for a second and just listen up. Put down the weed smoke for a second and just listen up. That's what we need our people to do. Put down the alcohol for a second. Forget about the 4th of July, the 1st of July, the Valentine's Day, the St. Patrick's Days, the Easter Bunny. Forget about all of that for a second and just listen to what we're bringing out. Right. And earlier we were talking about the curses that our people are going through. They're going to go through curses if they don't hearken onto the Lord. And we're going to talk about one of the curses right now. That's what this lady went through. Right? Can Baba Kasha, can you read that for us?
come on. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. It reads, Thy sons and thy daughters
shall be given unto another people.
Right? Hold that right there. Our sons and daughters will be given unto another people. Let's go back to what she said. I don't even remember exactly how many days I was missing for. Read that one more time, Baba Kasha.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Right? Read, Baba Kasha.
God. And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long.
Right?
And
So we're
there
gonna
shall be
hold that right there. Hold that right there. We're gonna be looking for our people all day long. Look at the red dresses on the fences. Our eyes will be longing for our people, our daughters, all day long. These people, our native brothers and sisters who are putting these dresses on the fences, they're longing for their people all day long. Right? Let's find out why they're putting dresses on fences. Right? Read that last part, Baba Kasha.
and there shall be no might in thy hand.
Right? Our people are putting dresses on fences and protesting and marching because what?
Look it. Look it. Look it. And there shall be no strength. Look it. I lost the verse. Give me a moment. Okay,
Right,
I got it.
right. So our people are like they're again we're at this moment we're a broken people, right? Like our spirit is just crushed. Like we're not fighting, we're not doing what we're supposed to do when it comes to warfare. And don't think warfare is this carnal, because man, you cannot beat the man who has a drone flying in the sky. He be launching drones from aircraft carriers. If you do not have a jet plane on a ship, you don't have 20 jet planes on a ship sailing the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian and whatever oceans you can think of. You don't think of fighting that oppressor with your hands. It's not hand to hand combat for you. You gotta find another way to fight. Read that last part.
God. And there shall be no might in thy hand.
Right? So there's no might in our people's hand, right? That's why our daughters are going missing. Right? So let's get back into this article right quick. Each day blurred into the next. At one point, two men in their late 20s held me hostage at a downtown apartment in Edmonton, Alberta. Right? This is happening in the cities. Native sisters are being taken off reserves and held in cities. Right? It's 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 such a heartbreaking thing to read and to hear that our sisters are being held, right? Where they raped her, Salakia, this is so like, where they raped me several times. After fighting for my life for several days, I escaped and fled to the safety of my kokoms. Salakia, if I pronounced that wrong. Grandmother in the Cree language, home, right? So she escaped to her grandmother's home, right? I didn't tell her of the horrors I experienced. I was in shock. I just wanted to appreciate being with her, being loved, safe, until I had to return to the woes of the system, right? She had to return to the woes of the system. Officer Shariwan, the water for tuning back in. Can you jump down to that same chapter we were holding?
Yeah.
Jump down to 49, Baba Kasha.
Yeah. Salaki, you want me to
If
read
you,
now?
if you, one moment. If you're watching this tape right now, Baba Kashai, share it to the social media. Share it to every native group that you can think of on Facebook. Just share it to the whole world. The whole world needs to see this tape right now. Come on, 1 second. Da, 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 da. Right? I felt so guilty. I thought what happened to me was my fault because I ran away. I did tell a group home worker I was raped, but nothing was ever done. Officer Shaywan, you can read it right now.
Khan, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth,
Right? Them stinking Europeans.
from the end of the earth,
Read.
as as swift as the eagle flies,
Continue, Babu Kashar.
a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Right? The Gadites didn't understand the oppressor, the white man, the devil the Bible speaks of when he got jumped off those ships. Read.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance,
Right? The white man raped and killed you with the sword. Read.
which shall not regard the person of the old,
Read.
nor show favor to the young.
This young girl told her group home worker she was raped. They did nothing about it. They did not call the police. They didn't take her to go see a doctor. They didn't do nothing about it. Right? Read that last part again. Which
Come,
shall not.
which shall not regard the person of old,
Continue.
nor show favor to the young.
Right? And that's what's happening to our daughters right now, being taken away from us. They're not showing favor to the old nor the young. They don't care. They just want to kill our daughters. They just want to rape and murder our daughters so they can sell them as sex slaves and make a little bit of money off of them. They're making so little money off our daughters, but they're making money off our daughters and our sisters and our aunties, our grandmothers, our mothers. Right? That was 27 years ago. I could have ended up a grim statistic. In Canada, Indigenous women and girls are targeted for violence more than any other group. They are 12 times more likely to go missing or be killed. Right? Every time I read a headline about a missing or murdered Indigenous woman and girls, I'm reminded of what could have been. I could have been one. I could have been them, and they could have been me. Right? Anytime the Akim want to jump in, no sweat, just jump in. Right? Let's get back into this article.
Khan,
Khan, you got something?
Khan, if I could,
Khan,
what you're bringing out is super heavy. It's so heavy that I mean, people think that this Bible or the scriptures, it's like it's it's just for like the old times. This stuff happened back in the days, but it's written that these are prophecies that are happening, and it's to show us for a warning today, and we must wake up, man. And if I could, sir, I could bring out a precept, and just to marry a precept of what you're talking about, what the article you're bringing, it's so heavy. And if I could,
Khan, bring it
so
out.
the precept bring out, it's on Second Chronicles, chapter 29 and verse 9. Salakia, and it reads, "For lo, our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters and our wives are in captivity for this. Now, exactly what you were saying, if our daughters, our people, our family, or this nation, our nation, and our brothers and sisters and daughters, they're in captivity, right? Because
Right.
we have fallen, you know, we have fallen, from following the Most High and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, that's all. That's all was in my heart. Salaki, that's all I wanted to comment.
Tuwala. Right. That's heavy, man. Like we are definitely going through these curses because we're falling away from the Most High, and we're gonna get into that, right? And try and get through the rest of this article, and then we'll get into the precepts that we have and how we save our Native American sisters, right? So we're gonna get right back into this right quick, right?
Come
So as a survivor, I feel Salaki, what was that? Salaki said something?
La,
Khan.
go ahead.
Khan. As a survivor, I feel obligated to help alleviate some of the agony experienced by the families of missing, murdered indigenous women and girls, other survivors and potential victims of this genocide. This crisis has been going on for decades. According to government
on.
and police records, if we're honest, however, it's been happening since 1492, right? You know what 92 is, and if you don't know, that's when the oppressors jumped off the ships, right? When Columbus jumped off the ship and he landed where the Tainos were, he left with 1,100 Native Americans, right? He left Salakia. He left with 1,100 not Gadites, Northern Kingdomers, right? I'm not exactly sure which tribe it was he encountered first, but he left with our people, 1,100 of them. Put them on ships, right? And he sailed them back to France. In his journals, he said that the people were so peaceable that they were destined to be slaves. They were made to be slaves, right? During that trip, that voyage, only 300 of them survived. That was good business to the white man, right? That's how insurance companies were started. Slaves, our Native American brothers and our Dominicans, our Brazilians, our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters, they were the first economy to be insured, to have insurance, right? They were insured to be brought back to Spain to be given out throughout Spain and out Europe to be slaves, right? White male colonizers raped native women at epidemic rates and justified their actions because indigenous people were labeled savages and less than human. Right? This is why our oppressors who molest children in the Roman Catholic Church, they took this book out the Bible, right? But in this King James 1611, it's in there. In this Bible, in Ezra's, you find where Salakia, you find where how the Native Americans got to the Americas, right? You find how they got to Turtle Island. It tells you they had to get rid of that book so they could freely go in to the Americas and rape and kill. Native Americans, your history is written down in the Bible. You are God's chosen people, right? The oppressors are going to pay. The oppressors don't get the kingdom of heaven. They're going to be your slaves in the kingdom of heaven. Right? So let's get back into this story.
That's right.
Officer Urad, get me Deuteronomy 28 and 30, Baba Kasha. Officer Sharyuan, can you hold Deuteronomy 40? 41, 28 and 41, Baruch Shah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Fine.
just hold that for me. Again, right? So this is what's happening to our sisters, right? White male colonizers raped Native women at epidemic rates and justified their actions because indigenous peoples were labeled savages and less than human. They labeled my brothers and sisters as not human. The same thing they did to us during the slave trade, right? The same thing they did to South Americans during the slave trade. They said we're not humans. Donald Trump said that we're not humans and locked our daughters and sons and mothers and fathers in cages at the border. They were just trying to get back into Mexico, North Mexico, Texas, and California. Like, that's all they were trying to do. Right? But the white man is such a devil. He comes up, he takes a land, draws a fake line through it, and says, you can't come here no more. This is mine. And he kills you so much, you're forced to sign a treaty. And when he wants his part of the treaty upheld, but not yours, right? How many treaties did the Gadites sign and Native Americans sign with the white man? How many broken treaties have there been? Right? Didn't Justin Trudeau just want to put a pipeline through your land? I thought it was sovereign land. Right? Was that the pipeline? Was that part of the treaty? Right? When your leaders signed the treaty, did they know that there was going to be a pipeline later? Like, did they see the pipeline clause? Right? Who has verse 30 for me?
Fine. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. And it reads, thou shalt be betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Right? So you're going to have a wife, and the oppressor is going to come up, kidnap and rape her, and put her on Salakia. What the hell are they using now? Right? Before it was Backpage, I don't know what the sexual deviants are using to order kidnapped women on. Right? Before sexual deviants were using Backpage to order kidnapped Native American women. Right? Read that top part one more time, the first line one more time.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie
You're
with
gonna
her.
want to right? You're gonna want to marry a wife, right? You're gonna take a wife, and another man, a European, is gonna rape her. He's gonna throw her in the back of a white van, right? I know that you see the vans that are just driving around the reserves, and you're wondering what they're doing sitting there, right? They're gonna take that wife and throw her in the van and rape her, right? Continue reading, Baba Kushna.
Fine. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Right.
Thou shalt
Finish
plant
it out.
a vineyard. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Right. Con. Hold that right there. Right. So we're gonna be doing all that and not enjoying it. Right. You're not gonna get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You're not gonna get to enjoy your wife. Salakia, Officer Shaywan. Right. Officer Shaywan, read verse 41, Baba Kasha.
Come, verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, But thou shalt not enjoy this.
Right? Like, you're not going to get to enjoy your sons and daughters because they're being kidnapped. Like, that's what that means. You're not going to get to enjoy them. Some oppressor has kidnapped your daughter, and now we're looking for her. And now we have to talk about her being kidnapped. And we have to mourn. We're going to mourn together as a family, and we're going to fight together as a family. Because that's who we are. We are family. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are family. Right? And we need to gather together. Let's see how much more of this we got. Okay, we're going to go through this real quick. Right? The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has recognized that the basic inequalities that exist Indigenous peoples and the rest of Canada are a glaring reminder of Canadian state's failure to overcome systematic racism. The intergenerational trauma of colonialism and the inadequate provisions of specialized services and programs for each community. Indigenous females are often discriminated against by authorities and labeled just an Indian out partying on a drunk or a runaway, right? So this is what we were talking about before, right? But they forgot the part that says, or Billy did it, we can't arrest him. That's the part they forgot. Most are or have spent time in the foster care system like me. Many are forgotten and left for dead. Last month, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police refused to issue an Amber Alert for 14-year-old, a First Nations girl who disappeared in the company of a 47-year-old man. Damn, right? So those of you that don't know, the RCMP is the equivalent of the FBI in America, right? They're supposed to issue that Amber Alert, right? I see Amber Alerts go off every once in a while, and it's always some little Ken, some little Bradley. Bradley went missing. His father kidnapped him. They're riding around in some station wagon. His father has him missing. He went missing in Scarborough, and now the father is found with the child in right. They didn't issue this Amber Alert for Molly Martin, right? Her former foster father, Darcy Doyle, a white non-indigenous man with extensive criminal record. God damn! A a black Hispanic Native American man with a criminal record could hardly even get a proper job, especially in the States. They make it super hard for you to get a job, right? You can hardly get a decent job that's not factory work, right?
Con.
You you can hardly get a job that's not a factory that's not factory work, right? And this man, he's he's basically he has a criminal record, and he gets to have to damn he gets to raise our daughters, right? Da, 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 da. Brought her to a wooded area near Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, right? So from this is damn. Earlier we were talking about BC. Now we're on the other side of the country in Nova Scotia. It's happening all over the country. Local First Nation leaders pleaded for government authorities to issue an Amber Alert, arguing that Martin's life was in imminent danger. Apparently, police didn't believe she was in enough danger to issue an Amber Alert. I believe it's because she's indigenous. What else do we got? We got some more. Her community of Wikoma First Nation, Salakia if I mispronounced it, offered a $5,000 reward for her safe return. They searched day and night for her. Martin was found safe on August 22nd and surely has a painful healing journey ahead. You can only imagine the terrible things. Like, don't imagine it, but that man did terrible things to our daughter, to our sister, in that wooded area. He should have never been given the right to try to raise her, right? Martin's situation made me think of Tina Fontaine, 15, who was murdered and dumped in Red River in Winnipeg in 2014. She was Cree and also a lost child in the system. Her death sparked outcries from across Canada for the issues of missing, murdered Indigenous women and girls to be addressed. All right, let's see how much more we got. So I'm gonna leave this right here. I'm gonna put the link for this in the chat. If you want to continue reading it, you can continue reading it. We gotta get into more of our topic. Right? I'm gonna put the link. It's in the chat if you want to read it. Right? No sweat, no sweat. Yeah, we no sweat, Janice Bell. We gotta bring out this topic because it's something that's plaguing our community, and it makes no sense as to why we're going through what we're going through. Right? So Salakia, where are we? Right? So now that we brought out the stories, we got to get into the other part of why this is happening to our people, why we're going through the curses, right? Officer Urad, can you bring out First Maccabees 7:31, right? Just like slavery, just like sex trafficking, just like drugs in our community, just like murder from the police and murder from our own brothers and sisters, that's a curse that we got to go through, and we suffer that curse because we turned away from the Lord, right? Like it doesn't get no much more simpler than that. The Northern Kingdom, who make up the North American Indians, the Seminole Indians, Mexico to Argentina, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. When the Lord sent you over here, you were supposed to come over here and keep the laws. There weren't supposed to be pyramids built like when we were in Egypt, right? Like we weren't supposed to turn back to the oppressors, right? Every time you turn away from the Most High, He sends an oppressor to kill you. He sends an oppressor to put you into captivity, right? The Christian pastor is not going to tell you that. These men that you see before you, your brothers and sisters, we're going to tell you that, right? The white man's not going to tell you that you are an Israelite, right? He's not going to tell you that you're God's chosen people, right? We got to suffer through our sins. Salakia, can you drop it when you got it?
You want it first Maccabees 7:30?
First Maccabees 7:31.
This is the book of Maccabees in the Apocrypha, 7 and verse 31, and it reads, Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, out to fight against Judas, beside Kafir Salama.
Hold up 1 second.
Salak, you probably meant second Maccabees.
No, where did I have it? Wrote it down. First Maccabees. I'm looking for we suffer for our sins. Hold up.
Con.
All right, just drop that one. Type we suffer for our sins um into your Google machine and see what pops up. I think I might have put down the wrong one. Salakia. But we basically suffered our sins. Officer Shaywan, can you get Lamentations 4 and 17?
Con.
Yes, yeah.
Salak, you want the one when he's talking about Yahweh in Isaiah or the Apocrypha?
I was looking for it. It was in the Apocrypha, but I'll find it after.
Okay.
No sweat. But Officer Shaywan, bring me to Lamentations 4 and 17. Officer Yerad, hold Romans 9 and 13.
Con.
Whenever you got it, you could drop it.
Con. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right? So read it one more time for read that top line one more time, Baba Kashab.
Con. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right? So we watch for the oppressors. They're not saving us. We we think that we're African. They're not saving us. Right? I seen a post where it said we gotta this is a post from a Native American. We gotta talk about Asian oppression as well. The Asians are not saving you. The Asians have billions. In fact, the US is in debt to the Asians, to China, right? They didn't do anything for the water on the reservations. They came up with a new iPhone last year, not a pipeline for the reservations. Keep reading, Baba Shah.
Con. Verse 18. They hunt our steps. We cannot go into our streets.
Hold up. Officer Shayuan, you can break that
Our
down for
end
me.
is near. Con. So it reads, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Right.
Right? This is saying this is this is a punishment of the children of Israel. Right? When it says they hunt our steps, like they're literally gunning us down. They're literally stealing our women. Right? They're taking our native women, right? And they're doing all types of things, right? All types of different things to our people. right? We're not going to be safe until we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? We got to provoke the Most High to come back and fight for us. But until then, right? They hunt. They're literally hunting our steps, right? This is a cultural point.
Right. That is definite. That is excellent. That's excellent. That's
All right.
definitely true. They've hunted our steps, and we can't go out. And because of the crimes that they've done, the Most High hates them. Right. So, Officer Urad, can you bring out Romans? The Romans I told you to get, Baba Kashar?
God, huh? This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, and verse 13. And it reads, as it is written, Jacob have I loved,
Right.
but
Hold that right there.
uh,
Jacob have I loved. Jacob, that's the blacks, the Native American Indians, and the Hispanics. Hispanics, your forefather is Jacob. He is Israel. He's the father of the 12 tribes. Read.
Jacob have I loved, but Esau I have hated.
Right? He hates our oppressors. Officer Shayuan, can you get me Psalm 17 and 8? And then after after we finish, Officer Urad, can you get me John 10 and 10? Right? Officer Urad, you can get John 10 and 10 right now. He hates our oppressors. He hates the people. He hates the white man. Like that's letting you know. Esau, he is hated. He loves Jacob, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why we go through punishments. Because any good father, any good mother is gonna punish a child who is disobedient. Right? We're given laws, we decide to go against them. We decide to support homosexuality, right? I'm starting like you see this. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but there are like groups of native people out there just promoting homosexuality, like that. What is the great spirit of homosexual? The way y'all say nature this, nature that. Nature tells you that two males can't have a child. So what are you talking about promoting homosexuality? Right? Like the Most High hates our oppressors and loves us. We go through punishment because he loves us. Officer Sharyuan, can you get the Psalms 18 and 7? Right? We are chosen of the Most High. Like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are God's chosen. Right? Like you're gonna get a whole kingdom. Your oppressors are going to be in servitude to you in that kingdom. Now, it just depends on how you want to live in that kingdom. Do you want to be the least or do you want to be the one in power? Do you want to have all the riches that you struggled to obtain in the white man's kingdom? Right? Do you want to forget about 1492 land back lien, right? And not have to worry about setting school buses and breaking up roads and destroying train tracks. In the Most High's kingdom, you're not going to do that. And this is not you die and go to heaven. Heaven is on earth because hell is on earth, right? We're going to show you that hell is on earth. Officer Shayuan, you could read it whenever you have it.
God. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 18 and verse 7. Then the earth shook and trembled.
17
The
and verse 8.
foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken because he was. God. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 17 and verse 8. Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wing.
Um, read verse 9, Baba Kasha.
Khan.
Salakia, I
From the
can't hear you.
wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about.
Right. So we are the apple of the Most High's eye, right? And the Most High is he's going to Salakia, 1 second. He's going to to avenge us. He's gonna have mercy on us, and because they touched the apple of the Most High's eye, they're going to have to pay for it. Hold up, I'm looking for the precept for you. Right, so the precept for that is Zechariah 2:8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory has he sent me the nations which spoiled you, right? So the other nations spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye, right? And that's letting you know, like, these wicked nations, they've touched something that doesn't belong to them. They've touched daughters that don't belong to them, right? Can I, Baba Kasha, Officer Yurad, can I get John 10:10? Officer Sharyuan, can I get Matthews 10:28?
This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 10. It reads, the thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
Right? So the thief, they've come to just kill and steal. Like, that's what they do. They come to kill and steal all of us. Right? They don't come to do anything else, right? But we have a king, Yahushua. He came to make sure we have life. He set it up so we could be here right now, telling you about the crimes of our oppressors against our people, so you can come out of the oppressor's culture, right? So you could put away the idols and the vain things that won't help you, right? Right? Because we're living in hell, and hell is on earth. It's not. You don't have to die to go to hell, right? You live in hell on those reserves. You know you wouldn't be putting red dresses on fences in heaven. The oppressor came. He brought your own history back to you. Told you it was his history, and he put you in hell and made heaven out of your land. Right, Officer Sharyuan, if you have the Matthew 10:28, Officer Yurad, grab Ephesians 5:25, Baba Kasha. We're going to be wrapping it up right now. Within like the next like 10 minutes, we're going to be wrapping it up.
Done.
Khan. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul.
Hold that right there. The oppressor can kill
Rather
your body.
fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Right. Hold that right there, right? So the oppressor, he can kill your body. He can hang you from a tree. He can molest you. He can rape you. He can stab you, shoot you, drown you, burn you. He has 1,000 different ways to kill us. He's been practicing this since he was in the womb, right? He's been thinking of ways to kill us from when he was drinking his mommy's breast milk, right? Don't fear that man. Fear the man that can kill you in hell and kill the flesh, right? Meaning fear the Most High. You're living in hell right now, right? Read that one more time, Baba Kasha.
God. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Right? So when you die, your spirit it goes out of your body. Your body physically doesn't go into a burning fire, right? So the Christians who taught you that hell was a place that you go when you die, they wanted you to serve them. That's why they taught you that. They told you that we're gonna bust your head so many times, and if you become a good slave, you go to heaven. Right? That's not what the Bible says. The Bible is telling you that your body can be destroyed in hell. If you die and your body stays on earth, where is hell? Hell is on earth. It's on the reserves. It's in the ghettos. It's in the cities and in the towns and in the countries. Right? So at this point, we gotta protect our sisters, right? We gotta be willing to die for our sisters and guide them and give them the right instructions that they need, right? Officer Urad, you have the Ephesians for me?
So now, this book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 25. And it reads, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
Right? So Salakia. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ gave love the church, right? And gave himself for it. The church is the people. It's the body of people. It's not brick and mortar, right? Christ never gave himself for a building. He gave his life for the people. Like we gotta love our sisters so much that we're willing to give our lives for them, right? We're willing to protect our sisters. No native sister should be getting kidnapped. No native sister should be walking anywhere by herself, right? That liberty of I'm a woman, I can walk anywhere by myself is why over 30 years, 1,000 sisters are missing. Especially when you live out in the middle of Slovakia. If it's not the city, it's in the middle of nowhere. And even in the city, our sisters shouldn't be walking anywhere by ourselves. That's what the oppressor taught us, right? That's how you drop that number dramatically, right? No oppressor is gonna try and kidnap no native sister, no black Hispanic or no black Hispanic sister if they're walking with a strong man. Like it's just not gonna happen, right? It doesn't happen. How many sisters do you hear get kidnapped from their man? Like her and her husband, her and her brother, her and her uncle or her father are walking down the street and she's kidnapped. Right? That does not happen. We have to be willing to die for our sisters, and that's how we are able to protect our sisters. That's gonna drop the missing and murdered women drastically, right? The only way you're going to learn how to do that is to jump in this school. You have to be here with us, right? We have to form one body like Voltron, like Power Rangers, right? They like to say we're the Power Rangers, but we form that one body and we don't get defeated. In the UPK, our sisters don't go missing. Like I've never heard of a missing UPK sister. We know where all our sisters are, right? Yeah, our sisters, they have they have many brothers, right? And strong husbands. Da, 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 da. Officer Shaywan, can you get me 1 Corinthians 11 and 3? Baba Kasha. And Officer Raj, stay in Ephesians. Don't go anywhere from Ephesians. Stay right in that chapter.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man.
Right. So this is how you stop, right? That simple scripture right there is how you stop missing sisters from going missing. Right? This is how you stop our precious sisters from going missing. Sisters, you have to know. Native American men, you have to know. You are the head, right? The Christ, who is a black man, not the white boy that the Europeans try to show you, not that pedophile, right? In reality, Christ is a black man. He's the head of the man. And men, you are the head of your wife. You're not supposed to let your wife be unprotected. What kind of man lets his wife be unprotected? What kind of man lets his wife just gallivant wherever she wants to go, knowing that you're at war with the nation that hates you, with the nation that's been killing you? Right? Read Officer Shaywan. Or was that the end of it?
Khan. La.
Read it one more time, Baba.
And Khan, from the top. Verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God.
Right? So sisters, you have a head, right? That's your husband, that's your brother, that's your father at the time, right? If you don't have a father, it's your brother, right? Until you find a husband, your head is your brother or your father, right? Like he should not be letting you just go like our sisters need protection. Clearly, the stats say you guys need protection. Like, who's protecting you? Right? It's not about going to the bars to go drink and dance. It's not about just like, I know it's hard, right? You got to stay away from the oppressors. The oppressors just want to kill you.
Right.
Officer Shahi, Officer Yurad, in Ephesians, that same chapter 5, jump to 22, Baba Kasha.
Go on. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 25.
Verse 22.
Verse 22, rather. Yeah.
And Baba Kasha, Officer Shaywan, get me Proverbs 31 and 10. You're going to hear a lot of Proverbs 31 and 10 when we speak about sisters. Because once you get that in your mind, you'll understand what we're talking about. Right? And sisters, if when I tell you that you shouldn't be going anywhere by yourselves, you think that oh, I'm trying to stomp on your liberties, that's because you're in love with the oppressor system, and nothing but tragedy is going to happen to you when you think that the man who's supposed to die and protect you, like the man is literally supposed to fight to the death to protect you. If you think that man saying, you gotta check in with me. That man stomping on your liberties, you're just gonna keep going through it. Those numbers are not gonna jump down. Come on, huh?
Salakia, Salakia. So you mean to tell me that you can't have a relationship with Christ? They claim to have. They said they have a relationship.
Come on, huh? But you're thinking about Hispanics and blacks, man. The native sisters, they don't have that relationship with Christ, man. They don't even want us to read that book on on the reservations, right? Because they think that you're the seed of the mother, when the mother is the soil
Right.
and the seed comes from the semen, right? Remember when we
Salakia.
went to Caledonia, the women were talking. Not to say women can't talk, but they put the women at the forefront.
You know, that's what Salakia.
Khan,
That's so heavy what you're saying because here the Most High and Christ, they have structure. You know what I'm saying? The I.S.U.P.K, we follow that specific order of structure that's in the Bible. Therefore,
right?
like you're saying, without the seed order, right? They say, oh, well, without the seed of a man, there's no life. We understand. We're not putting down the woman or anything. A woman takes part of it, but you got to go to the center point of the root where how is written and how is done, how the Most High created it to be. And if you're not following what Officer Sabaja is saying, that you should be like the head of the woman is men, and the head of men,
Right.
the man is responsible for it. And then if you don't have a father, like he's saying, and then there's Christ. There's a rank and there's a order. You can't go to the President Bush or Salah. Who's the president now? That idiot. Biden. You got to go through. You can't even go to the president here. You got to go lower than them, right?
Right.
So like I just wanted to say that because, you know, the woman nowadays, everybody who call Christians, right? And they think that, oh, that word relationship, the relationship you should have is with your man. The man is your head. That means he's responsible, especially if he's in the
Right.
truth. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's so heavy what you're saying because it's women nowadays, they think they can have a relationship with Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that even? That word
It,
relationship with
that's
Christ, that's um, it's just off. It's a lot. Excuse me. I don't want to say, man.
Khan. Khan. That relationship with Christ. That's some Christian dogma. Here's the sad
Right?
reality for a lot of sisters. Even if that brother is not in the truth, that's your head. Get in the truth. Bring him into the truth so you can be led righteously. Because even if that brother is not in the truth, that is your head. If you open the box to him and he shot up the club, man, that's he went in the club, man. That's his club now, right? Shout out to Ra'aha Abor, right? Yahal Bashem Yashai Barakatha, the water for tuning in. Where were we? Salakia, we're a little over the time. I got bear with me, Akim. I got a couple more precepts, and then we're gonna plug out for the night. Salakia, did you have the verse 22?
Cut. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22. Your own husbands,
Salakia,
as
you're
unto
breaking it
the
up. You're breaking up. One more time.
God. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
Right. So wives, you gotta submit yourselves onto your own husbands, right? The wives are the sisters, our mothers, our grandmothers. You got to submit to your husband, right? There's a reason you got to submit to your husband, because he's the protector, right? There was Salaki, I'm thinking of an old story, right? There's an old story General Muhammad was bringing out about a brother who he died an absolute hero. Some oppressor was in the face of his rib. He pushed the oppressor to the ground because the oppressor wanted to kill a black, Hispanic, or Native American that day. He pushed the oppressor to the ground. The oppressor pulled out a gun and shot him. The black man did not go to attack the oppressor when he was on the ground. It was more of a get out of my wife's face. What are you trying to do? The oppressor shot him. The oppressor got no time because of some stupid stand your ground law, right? Wives, you have to submit to your husband. You can't protect yourself, clearly. 1,000 missing over 30 years. You can't protect yourselves. You need a strong brother like Shaliwan. You need a strong brother like Officer Yarad, right? That's how you get protected, right? Finish reading on.
Too is so heavy what he's saying because, like, go ahead, Bob, with the shot.
Khan, you gotta make it quick. We're kind of over the time.
Sabaja, can you hear me?
Khan.
Verse 22. I'll just finish it up. As
Right,
unto
so
the
submit yourselves like unto the Lord. Like submit to your husband like unto the Lord. You like you submit to the Lord. You submit your yourselves to that great spirit. That great spirit's not protecting you. The Most High is protecting you though, right? He's going to avenge you. He's the reason why the kingdom shut down with coronavirus, right? He's the reason why SHALAM stock has dropped from $50 to damn near $10. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully we can wake up in the morning and SHALAM's stock is at $0. Right? That let's see that. Apple stock is at $0. Right? Let this kingdom fall. Right? Salakia, did you have something? You said you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah, God, I was just wanting to say, you subscribe to the Bible, you're an antichrist, man. You're a Christian and you're an antichrist. That means you're anti what Christ is ordered here in this Bible to do for us to do. You know what I'm saying? For the woman, you know, it goes as far as for the sisters, our sisters and brothers too, man. So come get this knowledge, come to the I.S.U.P.K and learn this, and one day we can, you know what I mean, go out there and our people are in great distress, man. They need this knowledge, man. Hungry. So come and eat this bread, man.
Right. Salakia. So your rod, you're gonna grab the last answer for the night. Grab Ecclesiastics 12. Look for never trust thy enemies. Right? Officer Shariwan, can you give me that Proverbs 31 and 10? Baba Kasha?
Salakia, can you hear me okay?
Khan.
Khan, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
Right? Like this is letting you know our sisters, when they're in the right order, when they're in the right state of mind, right, their price is far above rubies. When they think that they are the fighters for their community and it's their job to stand up on the news and talk about the things that's happening in our community while the men cower in the back, like you're not living up to your full potential. It's not a woman's job to go to war. If a woman's job was to go to war, thousands of our sisters wouldn't be missing and murdered. We wouldn't have to be right here, right now, talking about missing and murdered indigenous women. We wouldn't have to be talking about the vans that are driving around kidnapping our sisters, taking them out to wooded areas. If our sisters were meant to be the warriors, right?
Right.
Nowhere in history, throughout the Gadite wars that you're seeing, do you see depictions of women going to war and fighting? Right? The women were the gatherers, and the men would go out and hunt. When you have it in opposite, you get numbers, devastating numbers of missing sisters. Right? Now, I pray that our Native American brothers and sisters, they could watch this tape and they could wake up and realize that they are God's chosen people. They don't have to go through the curses anymore. All you have to do is wake up and join I.S.U.P.K, right? We've been established since 1969. Guess how many missing sisters we have? A fat zero. That's shalom. That's it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, right? Since the 70s, sisters have been going missing dramatic numbers outside of this school. That's not happening in this school. Since 1969, we don't have missing sisters. Our sisters don't get abused. The brothers in this school will die for the sisters. They will give their lives for the sisters to protect, to raise them up right, to love them, and treat them how they're supposed to be treated, right? Officer Urad, do you have that last precept? Salakia, Ak, you're on mute.
Excuse me. So Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse. Was Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1 you wanted?
Verse 10. All
right, verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 10. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright. Even
Salakia, are you an Ecclesiasticus like the Apocrypha?
Oh, Apocrypha. Salakia.
Salakia. Hold up. Officer Shar, you on? Are you able to drop the sign-in links? The sign-out links?
No sweat. I got you.
Most High in Christ.
This is the Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 10. And it reads, never trust thy enemy.
Never trust thy enemy. Read.
For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
Right. So you're seeing it right there. You can't trust the oppressor, man. You have the oppressor on the reservation thinking that he's one of you and that he cares. You're trusting him. He's scheming on one of your daughters. Who do you think is giving the drops? Like, let's think about it, man. Like, you let the fox in the hen house. It doesn't matter if he dresses up like a chicken. That's still a fox. It's still going to eat. It still needs blood. Our oppressor has a craving for blood.
Right.
Like that's just it, man. Go read up on Esau. He wanted that red pottage. It didn't matter. He said, I'm at the point where I'm dying. Give me the bloody meat. He goes around the world hunting. The oppressor will climb up the tallest mountain to shoot an eagle if he thinks it's up there. right? Like Officer Shariwan was breaking down earlier, they're hunting our steps. You can't trust our enemies because their 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 hate for you is just gonna get old. That's all it's gonna do. It's gonna get old. They're gonna keep onto that hate forever, right? So once again, that's how you protect our sisters. You don't trust your enemies, sisters. You gotta submit to your husbands. Husbands, you gotta get strong, right? The only way to get strong is to get into school, right? You're not going to find the strength to fight the oppressors, right? You think you can't even come up like it hurts so much to hear my brothers and sisters say they don't know the answer to how to beat the oppressor, or they said they don't want to think about evil. They just want to be in a loving spirit. That loving spirit made you sign so many treaties, and now you're stuck on reserve, and our daughters are being kidnapped. Right? Again, I'm Officer 50 Zabaja. With me, I got Officer 50 Sharyuwan and Officer 50 Yarad. This is the Monday Night History class. Clap it up. All right, I'm gonna drop these announcements right quick. We're gonna give a quick courtesy salute to your brothers and sisters watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Again, General YAHANNA is live right now. Go check it out. Blackwatch, the only news channel that is important for us, right?
Right.
We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra, which means 10 in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocation is the Passover. The Lord's 52nd annual Passover is coming up in Salakia. The Lord's 52nd annual Passover is coming up. I'm going to drop the itinerary right quick. Right. So Thursday, April 2nd, we got the slaughter of the lambs. That's at Hamza Farm, 9022 Pertain Way, Roshan, Texas, right? From 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Friday, the April 23rd, we got the pre-Passover mansion party. That's 6 p.m. until, we black, Hispanics and Native Americans. 6 p.m. until 6 p.m. until we say stop. Right? That's at Cypress, Texas. Saturday, April 24th is the I.S.U.P.K 52nd annual Passover 2021. 14149 Player Street, Houston, Texas, starting at sundown. Sunday, April 25th, is the Feast of Unlimited Bread at the same BH Ranch, 14149 Player Street, Houston, Texas, starting at sundown. Reminder to Akium and Aquafium to check the isupk.com website for any up and coming events. If you want to get any information on the Passover, contact Officer Aban by UPK on Facebook or Instagram. You can hit up ISUPK Canada on Facebook or Instagram, or you can go on isupk.com if you're outside of Canada and check your check for the number of the school in your zone. Hit up your camp leader, right? Anybody who wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing black, all black, boot shirts, pants, and a headband. With that said, men of Israel, I Majam. We're going to give a quick courtesy salute to the brothers and a quick courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine. Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahashai Barakatah. Yadimata, which means hands down. Men of Israel, we're going to give a quick courtesy salute to the sisters who are watching. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alafa Ba'ashem Yahashai. Yadimata, which means hands down. Class is dismissed. Clap it up. The water for everybody tuning in. Don't forget to go watch Commander General YAHANNA right now.
Right.